This is an NBC News special report. Here's Jose Diaz-Balart.
Good evening. We are coming on the air with breaking news. There has been an incident at Donald Trump's Pennsylvania rally. It appears shots have apparently been fired and Donald Trump has been injured. I'm going to pause to let you see the video as it played out.
That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Move to the spare. Hold. When you're ready. On you.
Ready?
Move.
Up.
Move. Go.
Up. Hawkeye's here.
So here's what we know at this hour. What sounds like shots rang out. The former president grabbed his ear and as he fell was immediately surrounded by security behind the podium. And as you can see in these images, he was shortly rushed off the stage. This is an emerging situation. NBC's Dasha Burns is at that Trump rally north of Pittsburgh and joins us now. Dasha, what do we know?
Jose, we're still waiting to confirm a lot of the details here. A lot of question marks still up in the air. Here's what I can tell you from my vantage point, because I was standing right here as Trump first came onto the stage. He was just a few minutes into his speech at this rally. I was in front of a camera, and I was walking off of the press risers here down below to the ground level where all of the general attendants are, as we heard what sounded like gunshots ring out. My producer and I ran to take cover, as did several of the people that are in attendance here, most people ducking down, the press that were behind the risers, press that were at our media tables, ducking down under the tables as we weren't sure what was going on. Our crew who was up on the stage captured some of that video that you showed, the former president getting protected by his Secret Service. They covered him. He looked to have some blood on his face. It looked like his ear was bloody. A lot of chaos and confusion. No one was sure where the gunshots sounded like gunshots were coming from. The former president, as we know, is now inside the motorcade. He may at this point be off-site. The folks here are now evacuating. A lot of confusion, some anger, people yelling at the press here, not sure what to make of what has just happened. The former president was just standing on the stage. He was talking about immigration under President Biden when all of this erupted into chaos. Again, just moments into his appearance here in Butler, Pennsylvania. So far, we're safe. Our crew is safe. We have not seen anyone injured. We have not heard of anyone injured yet, but certainly unexpected, confusing, and we are still waiting to find out what exactly transpired here, Jose.
And Dasha, we want to go back to that video because, as you indeed state, it does seem as though what appears to sound like shots, a number of them did ring out, and the former president clutched his right ear. We saw him that after that he was taken towards that motorcade, and here, or just moments afterwards, you can see from what seems to be his ear, blood in his ear, and there's some blood on his cheeks, but he is conscious. He is with his fist raised in the air as there seems to be blood coming from his right ear. He was conscious the entire time, still is conscious in every single one of the frames of the video that we have here on NBC News as he is being taken into that SUV. There were also moments right after those apparent gunshots rang out where we were able to hear the officials. And let's just listen in together to this.
If you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
I counted about 8 to 11 what seems to be gunshots, and you will be able to hear now.
Hold. When you're ready. On you.
as they're getting ready to transport the former president. And we see now some heavily armed special SWAT team members. But listen to what they say here. Shooter is down, is what one said.
Let's move. Let's move. We're clear.
This was just moments ago in Pennsylvania. And we'll see the former president stand up with the help of a few people.
Let me get my shoes. Hold on, your head.
He says, let me get my shoes.
Watch out.
Donald Trump still speaking as he raises his fist. And there you can see in the middle part of your screens what seems to be blood coming out from his right ear, conscious, shaking and waving that fist as about 5 people help him down the stairs and towards that SUV. And I could hear about 8 to 10 or 11 what seems to be gunshots. Dasha.
Jose, as we stand here, there are a lot of people yelling at the press pen right now, a lot of anger from the people here. I'll tell you, just emotionally, there's been a roller coaster just over the last 10 minutes or so since this happened. It went from confusion, people not sure if what they were hearing was fireworks, but as those sounds continued, as you said, 8 to 11 or so consecutively, people realized this might be dangerous, this might be gunshots. People started to get down, to hide, to feel that fear, that adrenaline that, frankly, I felt as we were trying to make sense of the situation and make sure that our team here and our colleagues here were safe. Then, when you saw the former president in that video get up and raise his fist, we did hear cheers erupt from the crowd, people chanting USA, USA, and the former president was taken into the motorcade. People started to clear out, and now, as this place is empty, littered with water bottles, just looks like a scene of escape right now. Very chaotic exit for everyone. The few people that are remaining are very angry with the media. We are feeling a lot of rage from people right now as everyone is trying to process what just happened. Of course, it is not uncommon for the former president at his rallies to point out the media, to call them fake news, and to target the frustration of his supporters towards the press. And that is a little bit of what we are experiencing right now as people are trying to make sense of what happened, what was supposed to be and was just before these sounds rang out, just before this incident, a pretty jovial, celebratory mood. Music was playing. The former president had just started his speech, and then everything changed, Jose.
When you're ready, on you.
I want to bring in Tom Winter, a special correspondent. Tom, what we can discern from these images that we have from just moments ago is that the former president was speaking, and then as what appear to be gunshots start ringing out, more than one, Tom, is when he seems to touch his right ear, and almost quickly right after that starts dropping, and then that's when the security joined him. But Tom, it looks as though from this image that there is blood just from his right ear, which may have also grazed his cheek.
Jose, I want to stress to everybody that it is preliminary. The information that I am sharing with our audience right now is very early in this investigation. Everything I say is subject to change as law enforcement gathers more information as an investigation continues. I can say with some sense at this time, based upon law enforcement officials have been briefed initially on the events at the ground, and reporting along with my colleague Jonathan Dinks at 6:29 Eastern Time, that the president is not expected to, the president is expected to survive this incident. I think that's the most important thing for people to know. The former president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, current presumptive nominee in the Republican Party, is expected to survive this incident. That's the initial indication that we have from the ground. There is an initial indication that either a fragment of a piece of ammunition or ammunition may have struck the president. It's possible it could have been a bullet ricochet. We just don't know. It's very early in this investigation. We do not have any sort of sense of a suspect. We do not have any sort of a sense of it's just one person or two people. We don't know. We don't know the type of weapon that's used. We don't know the motivation, though it appears to be clear to be going after former President Trump. But again, the headline at this time, the initial indications is that Donald Trump is expected to survive this incident. We've got a lot more calls to make. We've got a lot more information to gather. What I may have just said could change entirely in the next 5 minutes, the next 5 hours. We don't know. But that's the initial indication that we have, all subject to change.
Tom Wuncher, of course, stay on this, and thank you for being with us tonight on this rapidly developing news story. Former President Donald Trump appears to have been shot or hit by some either ammunition or fragments in a rally that he was holding in Pennsylvania just moments ago. I want to turn to the moderator of Meet the Press, Kristen Welker, who is with us as well tonight. Kristen, these images that we're showing show the president to be conscious the former president to be conscious the entire time, shaking and waving his fist in the air, but there does seem to be blood emerging from his right ear and possibly maybe some injury to the cheek.
Jose, that's right. The images are horrifying. The former president with his face bloodied. He's pumping his fists. He appears to be saying fight, fight as he is ushered off stage by the Secret Service. The political world just starting to absorb what has unfolded in Pennsylvania with just days until the Republican National Convention gets underway. Let me read you some of the reactions so far. Kelly O'Donnell has reached out to the Secret Service saying they are still gathering information on this incident. So, of course, we will bring that to our viewers as soon as we get that. President Biden, for his part, was at church in Delaware. As he left, he was asked if he'd been briefed on this rally. He said no. He then got back into his motorcade. Undoubtedly, he will be briefed in the coming moments. J.D. Vance, of course, the senator from Ohio, who is a potential contender to be Trump's VP nominee, tweeting out, "Everyone join me in praying for our President Trump and everyone at that rally. I hope everyone is okay." Jose, we cannot overstate this. This will send shockwaves throughout the political world, throughout the country, as everyone absorbs what has happened. Again, the former president rushed off stage, pumping his fist, appearing to have been injured at this rally in Pennsylvania, Jose.
Kristen Welker, thank you so very much. Stay with us. I want to go back to Dasha Burns, who was at that rally. Dasha, if you would describe to us what set the stage for us, what was happening when the former president was apparently hit with something?
So those of us who are just joining, we were on the press risers. We were in front of the camera as the former president came onto the stage, started speaking. He was speaking, Jose, for maybe 3 to 5 minutes, perhaps even less. He was just starting to talk about the issue of immigration under President Biden. He put some slides up on the screens here. As he was starting to get into that issue, we were getting off the press risers here. I'll just tell you from my personal experience, because we were in the middle of all of this as this all transpired. We were getting off of the press riser, getting to the ground level where all of the attendees are on the grass here at this venue. We heard at first what I thought might have been fireworks. I even saw a little bit of smoke, wasn't sure what was going on. My producer, Bianca, and I then realized this might be something more serious. We then got ourselves behind a barricade for safety, trying to make sure that our colleagues and our peers around us were safe. Everyone ducked down. As you see in that video, the former president ducked down. Secret Service came and protected him. People in the audience here, those who were attending, initial confusion, shock. Again, when you first hear those shots, you really do think this might be fireworks, just because this is not something that you are expecting when you're at an event like this. We get down on the ground, we hear those continued pop, 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 pops. They kept going. It felt like for a long time for those of us who were here on site. But as you said, listening to it back, it was about 8 to 11 or so of those popping sounds. As the scene started to quiet down, as we stopped hearing those sounds, the former president started to get up, his Secret Service escorting him off the stage. The crowd went from that initial shock, fear, to cheering for him as he stood up, and it was clear that he was not unconscious, but he did seem to be bloody. Then the crowd started to disperse. In fact, we're being told right now that they would like the media to exit the premises, so that's what we're going to do as soon as we finish this, Jose. I'll phone in later if we have more information, Jose.
Dasha, thank you very much. Do what is needed to do. Stay safe and do exactly what authorities are asking you to do. I want to, and if you're listening to us on radio, I want you to listen as well as watch what happened just short moments ago in Pennsylvania at former President Donald Trump's rally. We're going to start from this part and just go right through the whole incident.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Move his spare. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move. Up. Move. Go.
Up. Hawkeye's here.
Hawkeye's here. Move it to the spare.
Spare, get ready. Spare, get ready.
You ready? Are we good? Shooter's down. Are we good to move?
We're clear.
Let's move. Let's move.
We're clear.
Come on.
Let me get my shoes.
I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes on.
Hold that in your head. It's bloody.
So we got to move to the bus. Let me get my shoes.
Okay, my shoes down. My shoe.
Watch out.
This time around, as we play back what happened just a short while ago in Donald Trump's Pennsylvania rally, I heard at least 13 shots, what appeared to be shots, and there was some difference in the intensity or strength of the shots, which could mean that there were a number of, again, shots fired initially, and then there was some responsive shots. We also heard members of security say the shooter is down. Peter Alexander is with us, our chief White House correspondent. Peter, what do we know as of right now? And I understand that President Biden has been informed of what happened.
Jose, that's right. We have been in touch with senior officials at the White House who tell NBC News that President Biden, who is spending this weekend at his property in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, has been informed, has been briefed by aides about the situation currently taking place, or that has just taken place at that rally for former President Trump in Pennsylvania. I spoke to another official there who conceded that they are trying to get as much information as they can right now. Clearly, there are a lot of events that are moving very quickly at this time. The president, only moments before this took place, was in church at Rehoboth, and when he exited the church, reporters asked him if he was aware of it or had been informed about it. At that time, he had not been. It's clear at this time he now has. This is clearly a very dramatic moment for this country. Both President Biden and many members of his staff have condemned political violence of all kinds. Nobody anticipated anything of this kind to take place. As someone who travels routinely with the president and formerly with former President Trump and with Mr. Trump as a candidate, the perimeter is usually very tightly protected from a great distance as well. As you saw, the U.S. Secret Service quickly swarming the former president before leading him off. You see the SWAT teams who quickly came into position. And I can tell you, having been at many of these Trump rallies, and here's a new picture from one of our colleagues there on the ground, the photojournalists who are in the front row, showing the blood on former president's face and clearly on his ear as well. There he is pumping his fist as he was effectively chanting "fight" to those members, his supporters who were there. The perimeter is usually quite wide here, and having traveled with President Biden recently when he was overseas in Europe, I was struck by how wide that perimeter was, with snipers in many areas keeping a very close eye. And I suspect many of our colleagues in law enforcement would communicate that for a former president and now the presumptive nominee on the Republican side, there would have been a very wide perimeter. So now that we are told by law enforcement that it's believed that Donald Trump will certainly survive this incident, immediately the questions turn to how this happened, who's responsible for it, and what needs to be done to help better secure any of these political figures over the course of the next several days and weeks, not the least of which begins with the Republican National Convention that's scheduled to start on Monday in Milwaukee. A giant perimeter has been built around the Milwaukee arena where they're going to be hosting that event. In Washington, a huge perimeter was built for the NATO summit that President Biden was participating in with world leaders as well. But as I'm speaking to you, I'm checking my phone and texting with colleagues, with staff at the White House for any additional information. Jose, as we gather that, we will, of course, share it with you.
Peter Alexander, thank you so very much. Of course, continue monitoring this for us. I want to bring in retired ATF Special Agent Jim Kavanaugh. He is with us tonight. Jim, and when we look at these images, there is so much that tells people like you so much about the trajectory, where it seems that these gunshots or whatever came from. The president was looking towards his right when at least two of what seemed to be gunshots rang out. And then he immediately kind of went towards his right ear as he was dropping. It seems later, Jim, that there may be up to two what appear to be lines, one right up above his mouth on his cheek going towards his ear, and then one on the lower part of his cheek. What does this tell you, Jim?
Yeah, well, you're exactly right, Jose. I mean, he certainly reacted to his right. I mean, it appears to be he was struck in his right ear. That appears to be where all the blood is. We don't know if that blood on the cheek is a wound or just blood spatter. It's hard to tell. But he certainly reacted to his right. He felt the sting on his right, probably his right ear. There's bleachers behind him that are filled, with supporters. But he kind of looks to his right. Now, it doesn't mean that the shot was directly to his right, that came directly from his right. It's just he hit him on the.
Take a look at what happened.
There you see it, Jim.
Yeah.
Jim, stand by. I want to go to Kristen Welker, who has some very late-breaking news.
Jose, Secret Service spokesperson just posted on X saying an incident occurred the evening of July 13th at a Trump rally in Pennsylvania. The Secret Service has implemented protective measures and the former president is safe. This is now an active Secret Service investigation, and further information will be released when available. Again, that is from the Secret Service. Everyone just absorbing what has occurred and unfolded in Pennsylvania. We're also getting reaction from a number of the vice presidential potential picks of former President Trump. Again, just to reiterate, the Republican National Convention is just days away from getting underway.